Hello everyone, I'm Armstrong Williams, and this is probably one of the most critical video blogs I have ever posted. I have been doing my homework and research to really explain to you what the House and Louise Slaughter, who's chairwoman of the House Rules Committee, is trying to do with the slaughter rule. I really want you to understand it. It's so critical that you understand. So let me try exactly explain what the slaughter rule is. Yes. The slaughter solution, they're calling it. The latest move by the transparent, above politics Democrats to slaughter the democratic process in the hopes that the Americans are just dumb enough to fall for yet another ruse. You see, the House passes or rejects a rule before it considers any given piece of legislation. This rule lays out the parameters for debating that particular bill. Sometimes these rules are strict, sometimes they're lax. It all depends on how much debate time or how many amendments they want to allow on a given piece of legislation. And then sometimes the rules are just plumb dirty, ugly, corrupt, like the slaughter solution. Representative Louise Slaughter, Democrat of New York, is chairwoman of the House Rules Committee and says she can pass the rule that will govern how the House handles the Senate-passed health care legislation by saying simply, well, get this, it's hard to believe, that the House doesn't have to vote on that legislation. Yes, the House is considering passing a rule that says it doesn't have to do its job and vote on a bill. The rule was simply deemed the Senate-passed health care bill and the reconciliation bill that will get rid of things like Gatorade and the Cornhusker kickback as passed by the House, allowing them not to have to subsequently vote for its passage. If procedurally that didn't make much sense, believe me, you are not alone. If politically you're wondering how passing the rule to deem a bill passed is substantively different from voting for the bill, you're also not alone in trying to understand this. Now, putting aside the sneaky, slimy sleight of hand the slaughter solution would allow Democrats to pull off, I wonder, do Slaughter and House Democrats think this will fool anyone? The idea is to allow vulnerable, squishy, mushy House Democrats not to have to vote directly on the Senate bill. But they act like people won't be able to put two and two together, as if voting for the rule that deems it passed is any different than voting to pass it. I'm not entirely sure who, besides themselves, is fooled by this. Juries don't fall for this reasoning. You don't get a free pass if you hired someone to murder your wife but didn't pull the trigger. And neither will voters, just because this time the context is different. After all, juries and voters are basically one and the same. I'm sure we will agree. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the corrupt slaughter rule. Do your homework. Do your research. We welcome your comments. I'm Armstrong Williams. Have a nice weekend.